Good morning. Today I'm going to introduce you to lenses and my digital camera. I want to start by saying that to get here, which is not the most expensive camera in the world, but is still a nice camera, I worked my way up. This is my fourth digital camera body, and my first one I bought probably about 14, well, I bought 20 years ago from my husband. It was one of those like Canon little digital elves, and it had like 6 megapixels, something very, very small, and not very good, but we had a lot of fun with it. 14 years ago, I bought a Canon Rebel, which is kind of an entry-level digital camera that allows you, that's a digital single lens reflex, which means you can rotate through the lenses. And then I just had a simple lens there too, and I worked my way up in buying what is known as the glass. The lenses are the glasses, and then the camera bodies. I have always worked with Canon. Nikon's wonderful, and what's so neat is that a lot of people are going to Sony, and there's just so many choices out there. To me, this is very, very heavy, and I don't get it out as much as I'd like, and I may invest in a smaller camera to work with rather than just relying on my iPhone. If you're really into this, then what you need to do is set goals, and you can email with me and I can help you set goals for this too. Also, I know a lot of you are going to head to high school, and CVU has a wonderful program. Ms. McLean is just lovely for teaching you all this sort of thing. So anyway, let me start by turning on the camera. And this is all, to me, what is known as muscle memory. So it's really, really hard for me sometimes to explain. But first of all, it is a digital single lens reflex. So if I remove, very quickly, I will remove this because you do not want the dust to get on the sensor. Here's the mirror. The mirror flips up and the sensor is behind that. I am going to start by telling you about a wide angle lens. This is a wide angle lens. You can see it's small, it's 24 millimeter. It's pretty close to what your iPhone shoots. And why don't I see if I can open it up and take a picture. I'm gonna set my ISO pretty high because we're inside and it's kind of dark. So I'm gonna set it at 1600. And here is my light meter. So right now I have it at, this is 1/50th of a second. This is 3.5. I can overexpose my light meter. That means that this is adding a little more light. This is adding a little less light. So I have that opportunity, but right now, these two numbers are inverse. So I'll click on this, and now it's going the lowest it can go, which is f2.8, which means it's a pretty wide open. Why don't I take a quick picture real quick? So here you can see at 2.8 what it does. This is what's in focus. This is out of focus a little bit. I don't know if I can zoom in and show you a little bit. You can see that this is out of focus. So what's going to happen now is I am going to then turn it up. And this is a very, very slow shutter speed. And if I were, what I have is camera shake happening with that in terms of zooming in. And you won't see too much of a blur, but it definitely has more stuff in focus in terms of the aperture being higher. But I would never, ever want to shoot that way except at night if I'm trying to get stars or something. Okay, so you just saw the image, wide angle. And what wide angle does is it includes the most possible imagery that you can get from side to side. It's pretty wide. All right, now I'm going to go with my 50 millimeter, which is what people argue, kind of what your eye sees in terms of depth perception and exactly the amount. So if I zoom in and take a picture, you can see that it doesn't include, when you do a comparison, This is wider. It gets more in. This is kind of what you would feel zooming in, but this is what your eye normally, it captures what your eye normally would capture in terms of skewing perspective and the like. Okay. Now I'm going to add my big zoom lens. That goes from 70 to 200. And this one is absolutely a monster. It even has it set up so that you can put a monopod right here so that it doesn't hurt your hand when you're shooting with it. I mean, I can't even get the whole thing in. This one, you've got to have your, the larger the lens, the focal length, the more shutter speed you need not to get the camera shake because you're zooming in so far. So let me show you what 70 looks like. There's 70. So we're going from wide, 24, 50, 70. Now I'm going to zero into 200. And there you go. There's 200. So again, there's so many more things that you can do with these lenses too, and I'm going to show you and talk to you a little bit about kind of what the point of these lenses are besides just zooming in and out. There's some really cool components to it. I will do that in another video.